Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Upstate NY Vampire Court's gathering. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I was actually asked to do a little presentation and a talk for you guys on the law of attraction and manifestation, kind of tips and tricks that you can incorporate this into your own life. As you're watching this right now, I'm in Colorado and this is being filmed in broad daylight. But as you watch it, we will be under the cover of darkness, and I hope you guys will enjoy. But first of all, what is manifestation? And what is manifesting something in your life? It is basically the act of existing or proving something into your life and attracting a change directly into your current situation. And so you've probably heard of the law of attraction, that like attracts like. Manifestation is very closely related to this concept, in that if you want to attract good things into your world, you have to be projecting that energy into the universe in order for it to feed back, listen to you, and give you what you need. And there's some great analogies out there that I'm going to tell you guys about that will help relate to you exactly what it is and how it can help you in your life. Imagine, if you will, for a second, that you're a cup. And you've heard the term, the glass is half full or the glass is half empty, and it depends if you're pessimistic or if you're optimistic. Well, it's very true in some respects, and they say that if your glass is full, you shouldn't pour any more. Well, why is that? Imagine for a moment that your body is this vessel, and if you pour a certain amount of energy into it, it can reach kind of like a maximum capacity, right? You want to find just the right amount in your life where you're not overdoing it, and you find a place where existence and living becomes very easy as the act of breathing in and out. That is the ultimate goal, is to eliminate stress, anxiety, worries, everything that goes along with the negative mindset and negative thoughts. So a lot of people will look at me specifically and they'll say, well, Isabella, how did you do this? You have this nice house, you have great relationships, you have these large events, you can paint, you've done all these things, you've done TV shows, all of these things. How did you get to that point of having what it was that you wanted in your life? And I'll tell you something, it doesn't come about by the process of waking up in the morning and wishing. And I think in our culture, we have this tendency to have this, okay, I'm just going to wish upon this star, and if I really, really pray hard enough, and if I think about this enough, then surely it will come true, right? And it's the wrong way to look about it. Manifestation is about changing your environment and attracting things to you that you like, that you want to see more of in your own lifetime. And by doing that, you can cultivate a beautiful life for yourself. And so there's a person, Abraham Hicks, and they had this really interesting set of tools for positive manifestation in your life. And those tools are specific. It's called the 17-second idea. So basically, it's that when you wake up in the morning, rather than allowing yourself to think of negative thoughts or patterns, it could be from a day before. Maybe your boss was shouting at you, maybe you had an argument with a friend, maybe it's a thought of a fight you had or a divorce 10 years ago, and you wake up, as we call it, on the wrong side of the bed. It's a very American term, right? You've got to wake up on the right side of the bed. If you take 17 seconds every single morning when you wake up and you've been in the astral realm previously, you've been in slumber, and your body basically resets. Every night you go through a reset process. But when you wake up, law of attraction is no longer held in suspension. It rolls back into action. And that is the time that you want to take to think only positive thoughts. Do not allow any negative thoughts to enter your mind. Only focus on the good. What is it I can do today that will be productive? What is it I can do today that will get me more to the goals that I want, whether it's in my business, work, or my relationships, whatever it is. Take just 17 seconds to really think about it. And some people say, Isabella, that's too hard because, I woke up and by the time I got to breakfast, it was gone. It only has to be 17 seconds. And what you will find is this beautiful snowball effect. And there was one girl, she said, well, I found when I woke up, I was having these negative thoughts. And I said, well, what was triggering the thoughts if it wasn't memories? And she said, well, I would open my email, I would open my social media, and I would see the political state of the world or the terrible things going on, and it would depress me, and it would put me in this spiraling negative mindset. But she found by just turning off the email, switching off the social media for at least a few hours in the morning, getting up, doing her own thing, whether it was focusing on painting or something else, that she was enabling herself to give it a shot, to allow the universe to present the things that she wanted to manifest. So by creating that positive energy that early on in the morning, she was able to achieve many more of her goals throughout the day. So I'm sure there are many of you who are watching this who are like, well, that whole manifestation thing, the word has kind of been hijacked recently by a lot of very spiritualist kind of hippie culture. They're like, well, if you just manifest this into your life, and surely it will appear and drop at your feet. Whereas in reality, that's not the case. And I think that's something that's so wonderful about vampirism specifically, is that it is a very left-hand path practice, which oftentimes we're taught is this very, people say, well, it's a selfish path, you shouldn't be going down that path. It's all about the self. And yes, I would agree to an extent. That path, especially within vampirism, left hand, is about survival, and it's about preservation of the self and putting yourself first. But I don't necessarily believe that has to be a selfish thing. You probably heard, like if you're on the aeroplane, they'll say this thing where if the oxygen masks drop down, they'll say, please put the mask on yourself before helping a child, infant, or anyone else around you. And I think that analogy can be taken into real life, that you can't really truly help other people and do good in society until first you help yourself and you work on yourself. And by enabling that self-care within yourself and prioritizing the joy and happiness above anything else, you are then able to actually share that joy and ignite creativity in a spark in other people. And so I think, don't ever let anyone tell you, I think a lot of times with the whole vampirism thing, we're often told it's a predatory based nature thing, and those things aren't untrue, but it doesn't mean that you can't actively be doing good in the world or be helping other people. So the next part is that manifestation doesn't just have to be happening in your everyday life. You can actually be doing it while you're sleeping on the subconscious kind of level. If you take time before you even go to bed to think about the goals and what it is you really want, even the smallest things like, I want to complete this level in this game, or I really want to become a chef, or I want to get this graduate degree, whatever it is. Take time before you go to sleep to actively think about it, because when you enter the dream on, it is its own, lucid dreaming is its own very powerful tool, which is its own topic alone, which I would encourage you guys to look at. I actually do have a podcast called The Hourglass of Isabella, and we have a whole episode just discussing lucid dreaming and how you can get in access into that realm, and it couples into astral projection, all sorts of wonderful topics. But dreaming is a powerful tool. If you take that time before sleep to think about it, your brain will process it throughout the night and go through it and help you go through a series of scenarios to help you get what you want. And in a sense, that is very much key what manifestation is. So how do we go about putting this manifestation and this law of attraction into place in our every day-to-day lives? Let's say as an example, because we've now covered waking up in the morning and going to sleep at night, and those are two easy points to kind of focus on. But in the everyday, how do we put it into action to get the results that we are looking for, regardless whether it's work or whatnot or relationships? So if, let's say as an example, you want to hang around, you're like, okay, I want to go to these glamorous parties and I want to hang out around with attractive people who are on my level, who resonate that same kind of frequency so that I can have a fulfilling time. The first step that you would need to have is in order to manifest, you need to be. It needs to be a proven thing. You have to exude what it is you're looking for, because remember, like attracts like. So in order to get into that mindset and that space, you'd say, okay, I'm going to go to these masquerades and I'm going to attract, through my costume and my presentation, other people who are resonating on that same level, other people who want to be successful, other people who are intellectual, other people who want to do well, other people who are compassionate and understanding. Whatever it is you want, you first have to incorporate that within yourself. The next one that I always hear about that's very popular with manifestation is money, money, money. You know, I need more money. I don't have enough money. I'm not financially stable. I'm struggling. I have all of these bills to pay but I cannot meet. And the more I think about it, the worse and worse it gets. Well, think about that for a second. The more you think about it, the more you dwell on those bills and the incoming payments and the student loan and the debt, whatever it may be, the more you dwell on it, the more you invite the negativity into your headspace, right? And the more you have that negativity, remember what we said before about law of attraction and like attracts like? It can apply as a negative effect as well. So if you are hyper focusing on the negative side of the income and what you're not getting out of it, then surely you will get less and less. You will attract that darkness, and it is more than happy. It delights in taking you down with it. In order to be successful and to surpass that, you first have to have the mindset of success long before you are successful. You cannot go into a mindset of failure. And remember, there is no such thing as failure. Failure is a finite concept. Success is merely going from failure to failure without lack of enthusiasm. And that is a Winston Churchill quote. So I'll now tell you, as we start to wrap this up, about some of my own personal experiences with manifestation and how certain things in my life have come to be. And it's always important to look out for in your personal life synchronicities. And you may ask, well, what's the synchronicity? Synchronicity is something that you notice that is undeniably relating to something else in your life. It is a unspoken message from the universe, if you will. Like you were looking to get into gardening and you're walking down the road and a flower blows into your path. Something very small and subtle can often be a key communication that you definitely should be taking notice of. And the more you become aware of the beauty and the synchronicities around you, the more you will see them. So in my case, I worked for a wonderful, fantastic, large event, and I loved it. It was creative. There was costumes, masquerade, everything that I wanted from that world for beauty. I felt fulfilled. I felt that I had this family of like-minded, creative individuals, and that I'd finally, found my place in the world. And through various parts of the situation, here, not there, what happened historically, but moving on to the future, I no longer had that. I no longer had that job. I no longer had that environment. All of those people were gone, and I found myself in this very dark place where I felt lost. I felt without purpose. I wasn't particularly sure who I was of my own accord. I had, unfortunately, that's Crowley in the background. Okay, so I got the Crowley out because, as you can see, he was manifesting very much that he wanted to be out and about in the world. That was his will that he inflicted on the universe, and he got his way, so now he's out. But to finish the story, so yes, I had this family and this whole sense of self, and then almost overnight I lost it. And I felt confused, and I had a sense of mourning and loss for things that, should have been in my mind that had directly changed. And then I was presented with this problem of what do I do moving forwards? Because I no longer have that event, I no longer have these people. Do I sit self-pitying and wallowing in negativity? Or do I do something about it? And do I manifest for myself a better, more exciting future? Which is exactly what I did. I decided to run my own event. We surpassed the other event. We had thousands of people come to New Orleans. We rented out the whole Audubon Zoo. And the point is, you cannot dream too big. If you have the vision and you are able to fulfill it, you can do anything you want in the universe. So the next time that someone tells you, no, you can't do that, or you need to let go of that dream, it's not possible, know that absolutely anything in your life is possible. And that if you believe in yourself first, and you put those practices of vampirism, whether it's, tangent feeding on, like example, if you have an event and if these crowds and all these people are coming and there's so much positive excitement and energy there, you can feed off of that and use it for positive outcome. And let's say you encounter something negative, and you're always in your life going to encounter negative people or non-positive experiences that you don't enjoy. And Crowley agrees. If you take those experiences and that negative energy and you harness it into something positive and creative. Let's say someone says something terrible to you and you think, well, that made me feel awful. And you take that and you pick up the paintbrush and you paint something beautiful on a canvas that would have never existed. You didn't allow that energy to control you. Instead, you fed from it and you harnessed it. And that is the true power of vampirism, and something we should all be adopting into our lives. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this talk and you've enjoyed your time with Crowley, and that we have a wonderful time with this celebration. And cheers.